All right. Hi, everybody. This is the Landmark Comic Book Club. We're here with special guest Colleen Cole, cosplayer, artist.
Hey, guys.
Colleen's going to answer some cosplay questions and do some little makeup tutorials today.
Yep.
Hi, Colleen. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was getting all sorts of stuff ready for this earlier today, and we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well, we're ready to kick off, and as people join, I'll just add them in and mute them, and then if they have questions, they can raise their hands, and we'll just let them have questions as you're going through things. So if you want to go ahead and get started, you're free to go.
Cool. I guess one of the first things that I wanted to talk about is like you can get your inspiration from all sorts of things for your makeup. And one of the best things that you can do for your makeup is to just play, honestly. One of the things that's best before you do a cosplay is to do a makeup test and to see what you like about a character's look and what you don't like about a character's look on your face, because everyone's different and everyone's going to be doing different things. Get a bunch of different pictures from different places of the characters that you're going to be doing. You can get them from the comics, you can get them from the movies. Google is one of your best friends when it comes to finding inspiration for your characters. I know that this past year has been pretty crazy so far as not getting out, not having a reason to put on makeup, but it was one of the years that really pushed me to do more makeup and to really push the boundaries on what I was doing. Creating Pinterest boards and just playing with the makeup was a big thing. I grew up back in the 90s when we were just coming out of the 80s, and it was all of the blue eyeshadows, and so everyone was really getting away from a lot of color in the 90s, going very natural looks. Right now they're going very natural looks on everyday makeup, and just to get out there and play with color is something very different for a lot of people. So that was one of the things that I had fun with this year. Let's see if I can share my screen for this. Let's see. Can't share my screen. If you go onto Pinterest, you can find so many different things. One of the things that I was working on this year was getting inspiration from different places. I worked on a lot of different bird inspirations, which I had a lot of fun with, and you can find on my my Instagram. Let's see. Is there a way that I could share my screen?
You should be able to now.
Cool. Awesome. That over there. So this was one of my boards for all of the birds that I was looking at.
I saw some of those bird makeups. They looked awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with these. These are some of the looks that I did from those birds, just playing with color, playing with shape, just doing a lot of things that, I mean, you're not going to do when you go out for the most part. But I had so much fun creating these. And just taking colors and putting them together that I would never have put together.
That's really cool. Did you do that last one with the dots? Did you do that with jewelry or makeup?
That's makeup. That's all makeup.
Wow, that's awesome. It looks almost like bejeweled.
Mm-hmm. That's the fun thing about a lot of the makeups that we have right now is you can do so much with them. Here's another one with some dots. You can just do so much. And let's see, you don't have to get the most expensive makeups to do these looks. A lot of the makeups that I used in those particular looks are things that I could get at the grocery store or at Target. The NYX has a brand of liquid eyeliners, and that's what I did those dots with, and the different colored eyeliners. And NYX is a brand that you can get at Target that's pretty inexpensive. They have, this is a NYX palette that's one of my favorites. It's got a ton of different colors in it. This palette right here is Koki. You can get this one at the grocery store, and it's got a lot of different fun colors to it. Some of my stuff is some of the more expensive stuff, but it's stuff that I've collected over the years. I'm not going out and buying the most expensive stuff. This is another NYX palette. So there's no reason to go out and buy the most expensive things when you're looking at doing your makeup. Most of the stuff that I'll use, like I said, today is going to be stuff that you can get at the grocery store, get at Target. And then one of the best things that you can do for yourself is just play with it. So are there any questions so far?
Katie, do you have any questions?
Do you adapt your makeup style for like the different characters you cosplay?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I'm going to show today. I'm going to do, so I've got 2 different color contacts in for a reason. I'm going to do, one side of my face is going to be Punchline from, she's the new Joker girlfriend, I guess. And then the other side of my face, I'm going to do Raven from Teen Titans. So you'll see 2 pretty different looks that I'm going to do. I haven't actually done Punchline yet, so this will be the first time that I've done any sort of look for her. But yeah, I do. Let's see if I can find. Let me find a picture of different. And then I'll show you guys. I enjoy doing a bunch of different characters, so doing the same look for different characters is no fun. Part of the fun is just doing something completely different. I'll show you one of the more elaborate ones that I've done as well. This was a lot of fun. This is Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's great. I love the shadows in that.
Yeah, that was a really fun cosplay to do. One of the other ones that I have is, this is my Raven. And then
Did you make that Raven dress?
I did.
Great job on that.
Thanks. She was a lot of fun. Trying to find my Red Sonja. Let's see if I can find her here. this is my red Sonia. So some pretty natural looking makeup, but then adding bruising, stuff like that. So there's a bunch of different stuff that you can do with makeup.
The
Just
tattoo is
to
cool.
completely change it. Yeah, I did a lot of research into that. So that's called woad, and it was a paint that was made from a certain tree, and it actually had psychedelic properties to it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever messed around with henna?
I've had henna done before, but I haven't done it myself. So henna takes a lot of patience to do, and then it doesn't wash off for quite a, like at least for a couple of weeks. So that's a little tough. Personally, I don't mind having tattoos and stuff in my cosplays. That's a personal choice for me. I know a lot of cosplayers who will cover up their tattoos. I am one of those that I don't.
I guess it depends on if you're trying to go like more true to the character, or if you're just doing your own version of the character.
Right. Oh, here's a good kind of mix of different characters that I've done too. So very different looks in all of those to change the feel.
Yeah.
So, and then that'll be something that I'll show with the makeup tutorial.
Nice. So one of my favorites of yours is your Elvira, and Cassandra Peters has said that it takes her like, I think 2 hours to get into the Elvira makeup and costume. How long does it take you to get into your Elvira?
My Elvira doesn't take that long. She's got a particular look that she's going for every time that she does it. I use maybe a little bit more natural makeup when I do her. I'm not going for theater makeup, and that's probably where hers is a little bit different. She's going much more in depth into all of it, into prepping her face and doing all of that. The Ghost Rider itself, that takes 45 minutes for me to do my makeup. But that was after practicing it and getting that process down. Usually it takes me anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes to do makeup, depending on how in depth I want to go.
Okay.
So, and sometimes I've got, like, I do a Lady Death, and that's full body paint. And that takes my husband and I a good couple of hours to get all of that body paint done, because she's completely white, not just a skin tone, but actual white.
So when you do something like that, do you do latex paint, or is it like I wouldn't think you want to do like a grease paint, right? Because then you kind of track it everywhere.
The thing is, with most of the body paints, is you can set them so that they're not going to get anywhere. Even with the grease paints, you can do that. There's certain products by Marin or Ben Nye or any of those companies that will set all of that in place. I'm not completely familiar with a lot of it. I use a water base for all of mine, and then I pray. I've done Lady Death quite a few times down in Phoenix, and one of the years that we were down there, it was 112. It was ridiculously hot. And not only that, but I had a panic attack on the way from my hotel down to catch the light rail. And I ended up completely sweating off my makeup, and we had to go upstairs and redo it. I wear contacts for a lot of my cosplays, and those particular contacts are a white mesh, and it makes you look like you're looking through an Appalachian fog. And I have claustrophobia, and that's not my best time, especially when I'm getting into a elevator. So, but yeah, there's sprays that you can use. There's stuff that you can mix into a lot of your different body paints to make them set right away. There's powders that you can put on, like those grease ones. There's a bunch of different ones that you can use. I personally don't like to use the grease ones because I have extremely sensitive skin. And I'll break out right away by putting those on. So.
So we have a couple new people. I just wanted to do a check and see if anyone, thanks for joining, and see if anyone had any additional questions. No, okay.
Oh, she does.
Yes.
Do you make like most of your cosplays like by hand?
I wouldn't say that I make most of them. I do make a good number of them. You have to take a lot of different things into account with your costumes. The cost effectiveness of making it versus buying it, if you can find it to buy, whether you have the skill or the time or any of that to make it yourself. I have a really, I don't know if it's a good habit or a bad habit of trying new things and just kind of jumping into it and making a deadline for myself and just going for it. I kind of drive my husband nuts with dinner parties because I'll make something completely different, but I also tell people that I know how to order pizza. So that's kind of the way that I go about my cosplays. I have something planned. I want to make this armor build. I want to do this particular fabric costume that I haven't necessarily done these skills with yet, but this is what I'm planning on doing. And if I do it, great. If it doesn't completely work out, I know how to put on one of those store-bought costumes and still have fun. So it really just depends. My Raven, I wanted a specific look for Raven, and I'm busty and thin on the bottom, so I have a very different shape than most people. So it's, for something like that, it was a better choice for me to make it than to buy something online. But there's like my Zatanna, I bought online. I just bought a Mitsuri online. You know, there's quite a few that you can just, they're a whole lot less expensive to just go ahead and buy. A Mitsuri for me to make would have been, I mean, you're talking at least 2 yards for the jacket. And actually there's 2 jackets, so you're talking 4 yards just for the jacket, 2 yards just for the shirt. Then you've got the skirt that's at least 1 yard of fabric, and then you'd have to buy stuff to make the thigh highs, and actually spend time painting it and everything. I mean, you're looking at, just in supplies and not in time, you're looking at $150 just in supplies to go ahead and make hers. Whereas to get it online was less than $50. So
when you get something online like that, do you need to make alterations to it?
sometimes, but most of the time I don't. I did not have to alter Mitsuri. I didn't have to alter Zatanna. I'm trying to think of ones that I have altered. Oh, Mitsuri's I did have to alter the thigh highs because the shape was just really weird. But those are easy fixes compared to making it all by yourself from scratch.
It's interesting. So that's that's a good point. You know, if I guess the only time you really need to is if you're doing competitions, right? Like
Yeah.
that's one of the things that they would judge you on is whether or not it's homemade.
Yep. If it's homemade, you're more likely to get into the top three, because the costume contests, you're looking at a certain level of skill as well. They judge on a bunch of different things. Sometimes they judge on performance, on what pieces you've made and what the skill level on those pieces has been, stuff like that. So.
Cool.
And then your makeup goes a long way in making those cosplays work too. If you don't have, you don't have to look exactly like the character in order to place in a costume contest, but it helps. It helps if you know just a little bit to at least give it a little bit more of a polished look.
Angela, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, when you're doing like wigs, what do you suggest? What brand?
Arta makes really, really good wigs. They're pricier, right? My Raven wig, I got that one on Amazon and it worked perfectly. You don't have to buy the most expensive wig to get one that works. Mitsuri, I ended up getting from one of the overseas companies. It was the same company that made the costume. But if you're going to start from scratch on something and you want to build something up, I would probably go with an Arta wig. Because they've got a bunch of wefts and stuff that you can buy to create all of the different looks that you want.
Do you need, when you're getting stuff like that, do you need to get, I've seen some people use these big kind of wig combs that they just throw the wig on and pull the hair and
you don't need to get one of those. You can get, people get all sorts of fancy stuff, and that has its uses, I guess. I've never used one. I just use a pick comb from the grocery store, honestly, to get through mine. There's some different ways that you can help get through knots. Like if you've got a wig that you've worn quite a few times, once it started rubbing on your back, it gets really, really matted. And it's sometimes nice to just completely restyle it by putting it into a tub of warm water with a little bit of conditioner or fabric softener. You can pull the product that you've put into it out and start from scratch. And then it's easier to pull a comb through if you've used one of those products.
Oh, that's good to know. I know my daughter has a few wigs that she may want to get some hairspray out of.
Yeah. And then if you put it on you don't even need anything expensive for the head form, just one of those styrofoam head forms. And then you can get a lot of camera tripods have a piece that you can put those heads on. And then that way you can work on it that way.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Out of all the cosplays you've done so far, which one's your favorite?
Ghost Rider is my favorite. I did not make any of the costume other than bedazzling that jacket with the spikes. But I really enjoyed doing the hair and the makeup for it. I used my own hair for that. It was a whole lot longer than it is now. I just chopped all of my hair off in December, but it was like mid back and these colors, and I had it up in a way cool mohawk that looked like flames. And then the makeup is always really fun for me to do. That's one of my favorite costumes overall. And then my other cosplays, I really enjoyed doing Sindel from Mortal Kombat. That one was a lot of new skills that I had not done previous to that. My Raven is probably one of my best.
With COVID and doing the shows now, again, are you trying to find more cosplays with that allows you to wear a mask and be a little covert about it?
No, I have been vaccinated, so I'm not worried about that. My whole family, other than my youngest child, they're all vaccinated, so it's not a big worry for me. There are a bunch of different characters, anime and comic book characters and video game characters that you can do that. Like I plan on doing, I'm gonna need to get some work done on my teeth here soon. And I'm planning on doing like a Melina. I could do, I had a list of them, but there's definitely those characters that you can do to put that mask on. Genie from I Dream of Genie, you could totally pull off, you know.
That'd be a good one.
It would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do Genie, your husband can do the Colonel.
There you go.
Or
There you
like
go.
Majors. I think it was a major.
It was a major. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's yeah, the anime characters. I'm not completely familiar with the anime stuff, but I know that there are some characters that some friends of mine have done that have masks, and there's ways to go about it so that you're safe if you haven't been vaccinated. Absolutely.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
How long does like the putting on the costume and doing all the makeup in total, like how long does it usually last? Because it looks like it takes a long time.
It doesn't take that long. I usually give myself about 2 hours so that I don't have to rush myself. I have anxiety, and unfortunately I have social anxiety. So I can very easily have a panic attack just thinking of going down to a con floor. So taking my time is really, really important. And giving myself the time to get through it and to do what I need to do is key. So I usually get up at least 3 hours before the con, and make sure that I have all of my stuff together and get a good breakfast, and just really take my time in getting ready for those things. Otherwise, it's not fun.
So with that, did you decide, or did you want to do this to kind of help that anxiety, or was this just always a love that you wanted to do regardless?
So I have a theater degree, so it really played into that really well for me. And I like the more behind the scenes stuff so far as theater goes, the costuming, the makeup, stuff like that. I don't mind being around people, and it definitely helps having done so many cons to get a little bit more comfortable with it, I guess. but it wasn't that wasn't necessarily my goal when I started it. I just wanted to dress up and have fun and make costumes, and it wasn't the social aspect for me that I was focusing on.
That's awesome. Katie, did you have a question?
Do you have any tips for like beginner cosplayers or people who are going to be at their con, like a big con for their first time?
Don't pick anything elaborate to go as. Like really choose something that you're going to be comfortable in for the first day that you're going to go, just to be able to soak everything up. For your first con, you shouldn't make it a competition to be the best of that character at that con. Like, just go to have fun. It'll kind of acclimate you a little bit better to the con situation, and it'll show you what you'll need. I've got some costumes that are pretty, like they'll have wings on them, which makes it extremely hard to move around at a con. And mine is, because I've got the claustrophobia, I don't like people crowding around me, and if they're touching my costume, I can have problems with that. So choosing costumes that make me comfortable is really, really important. And that's a big thing for your first con as well. You don't want something that's going to constrict your movement too much or make it difficult to move through the crowds. You want something that's going to be pretty comfortable for your first one.
Have you ever done like group cosplays, like cosplays with like several people?
I have. I've done a couple of My Little Pony crossovers with some groups. So we did My Little Pony crossed with Pokemon trainers, and that was a lot of fun. We did My Little Pony rabbit suits. That was a lot of fun. I did a Disney princess group one year that was all armors. And they can be extremely rewarding and a lot of fun, but they can also be very frustrating. Getting a group to stay on schedule or to get together at the right time, or it's the same thing as having a group project at school. You're going to have people who put in the work, and you're going to have people who don't. So I would definitely choose your groups carefully.
Like how exactly? Sorry.
Do you have any tips for beginner cosplayers, like people going into cosplay who are very new?
Just go out there to have fun. I wouldn't go into it. I don't know. It varies for people. Are you wanting to go out there and make money at it? Are you going out there to compete? Like there's so many different reasons to start cosplaying. So there's different tips for each one. If you're going out just to have fun, pick the characters that you have a passion for and play with their looks. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that's exactly book accurate or screen accurate. Have fun with it. If you're going out to somehow make this a career, that's a little trickier. You'll want to, meeting people is big. Meeting people and getting into the right groups for your cosplays, stuff like that is important. And then you also have to develop kind of a thick skin if you're wanting to do professional cosplay, because people are mean, unfortunately. If you're wanting to go out and win competitions, really take your time on things. Don't make it last minute stuff. I have a habit of doing very last minute, very like procrastinated nonsense. But don't do that if you're going to do a competition, for sure. Take your time. Angela, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Do you like split the work between everybody if you are doing a group cosplay, or is it kind of like individual stuff?
It's all of the groups that I've done have been individual. Anything that I've tried to help with has just gone sideways. You definitely want to get into the groups where you feel like you're going to bring exactly what you want to bring to the table. And most of the groups that I've done, everyone's been in a different city or a different state.
Well,
And we
and
just
guys,
meet up.
you know, for Colleen, this is probably a lot of adult groups that are meeting up at cons, you know, from across the country, kind of situations. So for you guys, if you're doing a cosplay thing as a group, you know, you're probably going to be doing like overnighters at one of your guys' houses. And so I think in that situation, it would be okay to split up some of the work if you wanted to. But yeah, if you're, like Colleen said, if you're in a group where it's a bunch of different people coming to a con or meeting there at a certain time or place, then everyone's probably going to be doing their own thing.
Yep.
So we usually meet till around 5. I don't know how long it was you were planning on doing for the makeup. I don't know if you wanted to get started on that, or
That would probably be a good idea, especially since I've never done Punchline, and I'll be playing a lot with her. What I was planning is I'm going to do a split face look, guys. One of the sides I'm going to do Punchline, and one I'm going to do Raven. So you'll see two very different looking characters with hopefully a very different feel to them by the time I get done with it. And I'll talk you through all of the things that I'm going to be doing. That way, you know, kind of the things that you really need for all of your looks, and then the things that are going to be particular to specific characters. So I'll just go ahead and get started. One of the best things that you can do is find a primer that you can use for your face. It helps to really smooth things out, and it allows you to put your makeup on a whole lot smoother. I can't use quite a few of the primers that have like a silicone base to them. It just irritates the crap out of my skin. So I've got this coconut skin smoothie from, let's see if I can get a knot. There we go. It's First Aid Beauty. That's one of my favorite primers. I've already put that on my face. And then there's a couple of different thoughts so far as foundation goes. Some people will go, will do their foundation last. I'm kind of the old school persuasion, and I do my foundation first.
and Colleen, just you brought up a good point. If before someone starts using makeup that they haven't used before, would you suggest like maybe them putting it on their arm to see if they have any kind of reaction to it?
I would spot test it kind of on your chin, because you're going to want a skin that's closer to the skin that's on your face. So just spot checking it right on your skin will let you know if it's going to make you break out or make you itchy or anything like that. And like primers, for me, they'll tell me almost right away whether or not I can wear them, because my face will almost immediately start burning if I have something on that it doesn't like. So there's a really good water primer too. There's a bunch of different kinds. Like I use a cream based, there's silicone based, there's spray based ones, there's all sorts of, and just finding out. I mean, a lot of people don't have a problem with those silicone based ones. I'm kind of an anomaly when it comes to that, but I think that primers are very important.
Is it a similar reaction if someone's allergic to latex?
No, but a lot of the people that I know that are allergic to latex have an anaphylaxis to latex. So they have a hard time breathing around it. But this one is more like, my face will just it'll turn red from it. And then I have to let my face rest for a day or two without makeup just to let it calm down. So, but that's going to be with a lot of different makeups, a lot of the different creams and stuff that you're going to want to try, any of the foundations, stuff like that. Everyone's different. So I'm going to get my hair out of my way. But one of the other things that you'll have is eye primers. Again, I can't do primers around my eyes, but I can do what's this called? It's called concealer. I can do concealer on my face, and it works really well as a primer, especially around your eyes. So I've got a little bit of rosacea too, so it's just I've got to use stuff that's a little bit more for sensitive skin. But the concealer really helps to fill in whatever little lines you're going to have around your eyes. Some people, if you've got oily skin, your makeup will want to slide and to move around on your eyelids specifically. So having something as a base underneath your shadows is really important. That way you don't get those creases in your eyeshadow. And your makeup routine is going to be different in different humidities too. And that's just something that you learn as you move around. I did a show a couple of weeks ago in Kansas, which is a whole lot more humid than Colorado. And let's see if I can get this not so bright. There we go. It's my makeup almost immediately started melting off because I didn't use the right setting spray with it, or the right, I should have used a setting powder instead of a setting spray. But those are things that you learn as you go. So I'm going to go ahead and do my foundation. Some of the questions that I got, because I reached out to some of my friends who have kids that are interested in this as well. Some of the questions were about contouring and different like eye shapes and stuff for different characters that you're doing, especially when you're getting into the anime stuff. And those are, there's so many different tutorials on shaping your face. And you're going to do different things with different characters. So
this would be more of like your like a basic kind of makeup. like your overall, well, you could use with a lot of different things.
This foundation, the foundation stuff you're going to do with everything.
Okay.
It's not until you start getting into the different characters. Well, I guess getting into the more of the face paint stuff that you would do something different. So I am going to kind of.
Katie, you have a question?
Go ahead.
So have you ever cosplayed like male characters? And
I have not, because I don't have a body that lends itself to. I was a male character in college on the stage, and I just don't have a body that really lends itself. I do have a friend that does both male and female characters, and they are very good at it. So it's just a personal preference for me. I like very feminine characters. If I do a male character, like my Ghost Rider, I gender bend it. So I'm going to show you the pictures that I'm going to be working off of. That way you'll see what I'm doing. Let's see. There we go. Can I get screen sharing back?
Yeah.
Could you please?
There you go.
Okay, so this is Punchline. Like I said, she is Joker's new girlfriend. So we're going to be doing her with the green eyes, and then my Raven with the purple. They're two very different looks. Punchline obviously has the spray of freckles across her face. So I'm going to show you how I do that first, because I like to do the freckles up underneath my foundations. So this is let's see. Let me keep the screen sharing off. There we go. So I'm going to use a brow pen, and this is NYX. This is their auburn color. And then I'm just gonna, usually I do my freckles and then I'll do the foundation. It just gives it a more natural look with the freckles. And I try to make them pretty round because freckles are round. The only reason that freckles are not going to be round is if you have some sort of issue. One of the things that I learned in theater, like when you're doing something like freckles, you're going to want to make them look like as natural as possible. And if you saw Punchline, she's got them even up underneath the blush that she's got on her cheek. So you definitely want to go as far as you can with them, just to make it look, because if you do them right, they'll start to show through. Trying to get this light to be a little bit less bright. Oh, it's my monitor that's stupid bright. Let me see if I can. Okay. Maybe I'll just move that stuff over so I can still see it. Technical difficulties. Okay. So with Punchline, she's got a lot of eyeliner. So this eyeliner is just a liquid liner from Maybelline. Like I said, I try to use like you don't have to use super expensive stuff in order to get the look that you're going for. And depending on the character and the colors that you're going to use, you may do your shadow first before you do your liner, just so that you don't cover up your liner with lighter colors and stuff. So I use a liquid liner for the part around my eye. And then she's got a very smoky eye. And I also want to do a pencil on my waterline and just really fill it in. Sorry. What is going on with my camera? There it is. So I filled in all around my eye on the waterline and outside of it to get me that look. She has a very smoky eye. Depending on the pictures that you look at of her, it may touch that wing or it may not. The picture that I just showed you, it does not.
This is sort of a random question, but
Yeah.
where do you get your colored contacts from? Like, is there
Pinky
any-
Paradise. Pinky Paradise does, they ship overseas and you can give them a prescription. These are both prescription contacts. And their stuff is really good. I haven't had any problems with them at all. So this is my first time doing Punchline. Like I said, I have a habit of making things harder for myself. She's a lot of fun. What is this? This is a NYX lip pencil. So
So I noticed you're doing a lot of outlining with different things and then going in and filling it in.
this, with her, that's kind of the way that she's drawn, is she's got kind of that outline on it. So I don't know if my camera is good enough to pick it up, but you can still see the freckles that I put up underneath this. And that's how it was drawn as well.
Yeah, you can see them, and it does make it look more natural, like the almost like she's trying to hide her freckles with her makeup.
Yeah. And then I'm just using the just eyeshadow for this part, just because it is such a different shade than what you'll find on in a blush or something like that. She is also extremely she's got a very cut jawline, whereas I do not. But that's pretty easily fixed. Now, this is one of those products that I've collected over the years, but you can find a bunch of different contouring palettes. I think NYX has some. This one happens to be a KVD contour palette.
So if you were to go to a con, what like type of makeup would you recommend, I guess?
It honestly just depends on what your budget is. You can still use the stuff that's from the grocery store as long as you've tested it out. And kind of gotten, so see the difference between how round my face is over here, and then I've just changed the shape of it over here with contouring. It looks like a shadow instead of it being round like that. And then she's got some pretty pronounced cheekbones as well. And then you just go in and lighten it up a bit. The contouring also helps when you're on stage, because a lot of the times when you're doing a costume contest, you'll be up on stage doing it. And there's a bunch of different like diagrams and stuff of where you would do your contouring for different things. So I've kind of completely changed the shape of my face with the contouring that I'm doing.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
It does. It does. And then I think one of the most important things that you can do is do something with your brows. After putting foundation on, you kind of completely cover up what you have so far as brows, and you change the color of them. I like, my rule of thought is to go darker than the wig that you're gonna wear. If I've got a purple wig on or a black wig on, I'm gonna use a black brow pencil or something. I've got I've got the NYX, just like the brown one that I used. This one is a black that works really well. But I also just got this pomade from KVD, which I really like, and I find it just a little bit easier to use. And she's one of the things that I've found with wanting to change the feel of the characters too, is you can change the shape of your brows really, really easily, and make them either like look a little bit more sinister or whatever. Even if you look at my Raven, I've made her brows a little bit more sinister because she's part demon. So just bringing a little bit of her heritage out. Usually when I'm doing a darker character, I really bring out the peak in my eyebrow. It just like, it causes, I don't know, I just like it. So I do it.
Well, and that goes back to what you were saying about just having fun with the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just makes it gives it a little bit more personality too. So losing stuff. But definitely taking the time to do a makeup test on your characters is key.
So is this a character that you're thinking of doing in the future?
I just bought all of the stuff for her.
Oh, nice.
Because I was like, well, who can I do? Because I wanted to do some sort of DC villain along with my with Raven, and like I've done Ivy and I've done Harley, but I kind of just wanted to do something different. So this is not an eye pencil. Don't mix and match your stuff. Putting something that's been near your mouth up near your eye is not healthy, and vice versa. And one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to keep your lips moist. It keeps your makeup on a whole lot better.
So when you're storing your makeup, do you have it separated by like areas that you use it for?
No, I just know which ones, like this one is definitely a lip pencil, and then the other ones are eye pencils. So even though they look like this one and my eye pencil and this one look basically the same, like most of them don't have that tip on them, but they look basically the same. I know that this one's a lip pencil just because it says lip pencil, and I just make sure that I use the right ones. A lot of the times my I have a a vase sitting on my vanity that has all of my brushes, and then I have something separate that holds my pencils. And it depends on how comfortable you are with mixing it in those places, but I definitely just would not mix it on your face. Let's see. I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting. It just helps the light hit places. I also contour palette that has a little bit of a shimmer to it. Your highlighters don't go right up underneath your eyes, guys. It's meant to like highlight your cheekbone or like the raised kind of places on your face. It's not to brighten up underneath your eyes. The light will hit it and it'll look really weird if you do that. So I'm gonna move on to, I think Punchline's pretty much done. I'm gonna move on to Raven, and you'll see the difference. So with Raven, I'm gonna do my eyeshadow first because she's got those purples, or at least the way that I do it, she's got those purples. And I wouldn't want to lighten my eyeliner once I have it on. So I'll do my colors first. I like to kind of go from a lighter color to a darker color with the way that I build my eyes. Starting with a lighter color and moving up helps you to just build on top of what you've already got, and it makes it a little bit easier to contour. So I'm starting with a lighter purple, and then I'm going to go to a little bit more of a medium purple to start giving it a little bit more shape. And then go into my darker colors.
So just for like dudes that don't know anything about makeup, when you refer to contouring, you're talking about like the areas of the face that are kind of more up front, like your cheekbones, your
They
jawbones.
give you the levels. Yeah, like if you're thinking about like a topographical map or something, the stuff that's up top is going to be a lighter shade than the nooks and crannies. The nooks and crannies are going to have the shadows. So when you're contouring, you're cutting in your jaw, which is what I did over here, and cutting in on the cheeks to make a more prominent cheekbone. And this will change, like if you're doing an anime character, some of the anime characters, they're a little bit younger, so you don't want the cut cheekbones. You want like rosy cheeks or something like that. And where you put your blush is really going to help you determine what you're doing with those characters. And your eye shape is going to make you do some things a little bit differently. I've got pretty open eyelids. One of my girlfriends has very almond shaped eyes, so hers are a little bit more hooded. It just depends on what you've got. And then you can widen the eyes. So Raven is also on Teen Titans Go and stuff, and she's a little bit more cartoony. with a little bit of a bigger eye. So this is actually a silver eyeliner. Let's see if I can get it. And this is from Koki. But it's one that you can get at the grocery store as well. It's one of my favorites. And then I'm going to go back to my eyeliner. Raven's eyes are not as like shut off as Punchline's. So I'm not going to put the black on the bottom waterline, just around the eyes. I tend to give most of my characters a wing at the end of the eyeliner, just because that's a personal preference of mine, but it's not something that you have to do. And then I'd also like for each character, like the length that you take it out is going to differ as well. I am going to do the top waterline. The reason that I put black on the waterline on the top is to really get rid of that that flesh color around my eyes. It just helps to give them a little bit more pop.
Yeah. What do you use to for makeup remover? What's your favorite?
My favorite eye makeup remover is Mary Kay's 2-in-1. That stuff is liquid gold. I absolutely adore it. It's an oil-free eye makeup remover. It's really easy to use. I don't have any problems with it if it like gets in my eye. And then I use it's a Pure Lease watermelon charcoal cleanser that's really for sensitive skins, basically. So then with Raven, I'll do my blush, but I don't really cut in her face very much just because she's younger. So I don't feel like I need to with her. But you can do a lot so far as the highlights and stuff that you put on your face. I have a pretty distinct shape to my nose. And I like to tone that down a little bit. So usually I will reshape that. Sometimes it's personal preference, but sometimes just like with Punchline, she's got a very angular face. So adding to that for me. It's important. And for guys cosplays, you can do this too, to cut in your jaw, to make it to square off your jaw, stuff like that. It's extremely useful. Let's see. Constantly losing things, you have to Bear with me. I like to highlight the inside of my eyes too. It makes them pop just a little bit. Could have sworn I brought my lip liner down. I guess I didn't. So instead, I'm gonna go ahead and put my red on, and then I'll change the color of it with some powder.
Very cool.
Again, don't forget your brows, and you can play with the shape of them. Like I said, I usually do a peak on Raven, but just to make it look a little bit different from what Punchline has. Just do a more natural shape. Sworn I brought my stuff up. Mascara. This one is also a grocery store buy. This is the Falsies from Maybelline. You can really build on this one to make them longer and fuller. And then definitely play with what you're going to do with your bottom lashes with different characters. Some of them will have their bottom lashes done and it'll look very natural. Some of them you'll want to not touch them at all. Some of them you'll want to, like with Punchline, she's very clown. So really building on her like going above and beyond on a lot of her stuff is going to be pretty key to bringing out her personality. To bring out that crazy.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how much a little thing like that changes the character and the look.
Oh, why. So two very different looks
Yeah.
with basically the same stuff. And then one of your more important things is going to be the way that you seal it. Elf, which is also a product that you can get at the grocery store, has a really nice finishing powder. It'll take away the shine of what's going on your face, and it'll also help to lock your makeup in. So.
Very cool. And so going back to, I think Angela had a question earlier, how long would this stay? Is this something you could wear all day long?
This is something that'll go all day.
Nice.
Yeah, especially with the way that you're setting it. You can use a powder. I also have a setting spray. This one is Tarte's Miracle Mist, and it's a setting spray. You can use both of them. You can use one of them. It just depends on what you're going for. This I would almost think of as like a hairspray kind of consistency. It's not going to give you that tackiness on your face, but that's the way that it sets it, is it's going to give you that kind of glued on effect. It all just really depends. It depends on how oily your skin is, what kind of environment you're in, whether it's dry or humid. Yeah.
So a lot of this is also just practice and playing with what works best for your face, your complexion.
Yep. Yep.
Nice. So these are good basic kind of skills that you could build on.
They are. They are.
Wow,
And it's going to take longer than this to do it at first, right? I've been doing makeup for quite a few years. And like I said, this entire last year, I just started playing with color, which I really enjoyed.
And so don't get disheartened if you don't do it in 20 minutes like you did today, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Colleen. Thank you for coming on and showing us the looks. These are great looks. I think we got a little preview of your Punchline look, and looking forward to see it in future cons. Is there anything you're going to be at in town?
Locally, I'm going to be doing Colorado Horror Fest on September 11th. I haven't seen the dates yet for Rocky Mountain Con, but that should be sometime in October. Hopefully I'll be there. A lot of my cons right now are out of state, so.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you. And when we do our mini con next year, hopefully you can come down and visit us and bring
Absolutely,
the kids. It's a great time. Were there any last questions for Colleen, guys? No? All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.